Hello and welcome to Gunnar Weiskep's Web Development. Today's lesson 1 of Web API. We're going to be looking at what is a Web API. First of all, API stands for Application Program Interface. RESTful API is a commonly used term and stands for Representational State Transfer Application Program Interface. That's a long word. RESTful APIs support GET, POST, PUT and DELETE requests. Web API was first introduced in Visual Studio in Framework 4.0, so if you're using underneath that, which is old, you can't make one. At least I don't think so. API only supports the HTTP communication protocol, as opposed to Windows WCF, which is Windows Communication Foundation, which supports other protocols such as TCP and name pipes. So there's a big difference already with WCF and APIs, because some people might be saying, you know, why can't I do WCF, or what are some of the differences? That is one of the big differences between WCF and Web APIs, is that Web API only supports the HTTP communication protocol. So my personal opinion, if you're not new, that is not new to MVC, it's very easy to make a Web API compared to a WCF service. Web APIs, to get them up and running, and if you're going to use HTTP communication, yeah, it's pretty simple compared to WCF. WCF, there's a lot of bindings and attributes and contracts to learn about. With Web APIs, if you've done a lot of MVC, I'll be blunt, it's extremely simple. Well, at least for me it is. Let's just have a quick, I've created a little diagram here to try to give across sort of how a Web API works. On our left side here, we've got a web page, so just a website, and it's www called mywebpage.com, and it's coming from a desktop. Now, in this web page, this is going to be a simple email area. So somebody's been sent an email, it's in their email account, and it's talking about, you know, to join our mailing list, please click below. And so this is a typical good use, I think, of a Web API, because once you click on this mailing list thing down here, underneath that link you'll have this other link here, and as you can see, this link is calling an API area. It's going to go in the mailing list area, and what it's passing there, in this case, is like the username, which is John, their password on that website as well. So when it hits the Web API area, it'll go into the database and it'll say, John, this username with this password has said yes to be on our mailing list. So this, for me, I believe, is a very commonly good way of using a Web API, because you have no interface. All the information is going to be used by a URL, and yeah, it's also pretty easy to program and to create. So yeah, going back, so this arrow here, when this is clicked, going back, this is our API area. This will call our API area. You can see the link here is the same as this guy here. And as I mentioned, in here you do your C# code that will, in this case, add that user to the database mailing list area. So that's what I was already sort of explaining there. With web, it can be an application not just from a desktop, it can be from a mobile phone, a tablet, other areas as well. So that's our sort of web analogy concerning Web API. But you can also do a Web API call from a Windows Forms application. And here we've got more or less the same sort of analogy, but it's from a Windows Form application. And here, instead of a link, you could possibly press a submit button, and underneath that submit button you'd have the same URL. And yeah, so once you click the URL, the same process happens. The only difference is we're coming here from a Windows Forms application compared to a web application. So it might not be commonly known. Desktop applications are becoming a bit old and not widely used anymore, but you can do a web API call from a desktop application as well. Alrighty, so yeah, that's a bit of theory on web APIs. Let's get our hands dirty. Next one's going to be, we're going to create our first one, and I'll explain more about that in the second lesson. So thanks for listening. Please subscribe and feel free to have a look at my website there as well. Thank you. Bye.